If you're just checking in with us today, I really want to encourage you to click onto our website, grasslandschurch.com. Follow the teaching link on the website, and you can get caught up on the first two messages that we have had during this series. We're talking about waffles and spaghetti, or we're observing the differences between men and women. And we talked in the first week of the series about the fact that men are like waffles. Not that they waffle in decisions or indecisive, but that they compartmentalize. A waffle is a little pastry type thing that's got lots of little squares, lots of little different compartments in it. And men tend to compartmentalize every aspect of life, our relationships, our jobs, our hobbies, our sports, the things that entertain us, all kind of fit into different categories, different boxes. Women, on the other hand, process life more like a plate of pasta, where things are sort of woven together. Everything touches everything else. And so while men, when navigating from one topic of life to another topic of life, often have to kind of jump from one box to another, women have a tendency to be able to weave things together where everything sort of connects and everything touches. And if you go back and you watch the first week of our series, you'll get a little bit better insight, a little bit more detail, and how these things often play out in the context of our relationships together. Now, let me ask you a question this morning. How many of you have ever actually eaten waffles and spaghetti in a meal together? Has anyone ever done that? No, I didn't think so, because if anybody had, that would just be like a totally weird thing, right? Like marinara sauce doesn't necessarily go with waffles. Even with some of the strangest food combinations that I've ever seen on diners, drive-ins, and dives, I've never seen waffles and spaghetti together. Unless you're Buddy the Elf, you probably don't put maple syrup on pasta, right? How many of you would say that you are opposite of your spouse or your partner, that you are opposite in general to the person that you're married to or the person that you're dating? Any of you opposites? A lot of you. I would say that most of us can probably identify certain aspects of our personalities or the way that we communicate or the way that we see life, and we would say that we are opposite or that we're very different than the person that we're with. You probably didn't recognize how much was different between you and your spouse during your dating years. During your dating years, you were focused on the things that were alike. But after you get married, maybe you've been married for a few months or a few years or maybe in a few decades, you begin to realize just how different you are. I think our not-so-newlywed game here kind of revealed how couples can be married for decades, and there's really a lot of difference in the way that we think, in the way that we view life. Many of us, upon realizing that we have some of these key differences in our personality or in our approach to life, might start to question what in the world ever made us think that we could be compatible together. We start scratching our heads going, what was I thinking? We're so completely different. You, Miss Waffle, look at or Mr. Waffle, look at Miss Spaghetti, and you wonder what in the world ever thought us that we could go on a plate together and live life together and actually make it through this. Once upon a time, you saw things in one another that inspired you. You were interested in these things. There was something about her that put stars in your eyes and a burn in your britches, guys, right? And you knew that you needed to be with this woman. And it wasn't the things that were different. It was the things that you shared in common. Going into marriage, you probably realized that there were some things that were opposite or things that were different. But in most cases, it was the attributes that were the similar attributes or the things that you shared in common that attracted you to one another. Now, once you've married a person and you've been living with a person for a while, that opposite stuff can often begin to create conflict in the course of our married life together. We talked at length last week about conflict and how to manage conflict, how to deal with conflict. A lot of times the conflict that we face in our married life simply comes from the fact that we're different and that we're wired differently and that we view life differently. We might be opposite in a lot of different ways. Now, at the same time, this oppositeness can create conflict in our marriage. If we can actually learn to get the gears rolling together right in that oppositeness, these things that are different, these things that are opposing in terms of our worldview or the way that we operate, can actually bring a lot of joy and a lot of pleasure to our married life together. It can actually be a benefit to our marriage. I believe that sometimes God will orchestrate bringing two people together who are seemingly opposite in pretty significant ways as a way of equipping them for the plan that he has for their lives. I believe that sometimes it's required in order for us to really fulfill the potential that God has destined for us, that he will bring somebody in our life who might have some opposing characteristics or might be opposite so that we can better accomplish the plans that he has for us. I'll give you an example just with my own wife, Elizabeth, and me. I went into ministry, started working in ministry full-time in 2002. I'd been in the corporate world for a number of years before coming into ministry. But the church that I ended up serving for first in my vocation as a pastor, I'd been a volunteer in that church for a couple of years. I had been leading the worship and organizing the services and planning events and activities. I'd been volunteering for upwards of about 20 hours a week at times. And so when the leaders of the church offered me the opportunity to join the staff of the church, I was excited because I knew that as the worship pastor of the church and the creative arts director, I'd have an opportunity to do a lot of the things that I'd been doing as a volunteer, and now I could focus all of my time and all of my energy on those things. And so it was exciting for me. Now, having been a volunteer in the church, I knew what the primary responsibilities would be. I knew that I would be coordinating the music on Sundays and helping to plan the services. I knew I would be recruiting and training musicians to be in the band and people on the audio-visual team. I knew that I would be coordinating events and activities outside of the church. I'd already been doing a lot of these things, and I'd been doing them fairly successfully. And the truth is, when I look back on it, I see that those were the squares in my waffle that I was having success in, so those are the things that I was excited about doing. That was where I wanted to spend the bulk of my time and my attention. But as I joined the staff of the church, and I now had the word pastor attached to the front of my name, I was no longer just Bart, but I became Pastor Bart. There became I stepped into some new responsibilities and some new things that I had to do as part of my job that I wasn't necessarily as equipped to do. One of the things that I realized was going to have to happen as I became a pastor was I was going to have to invest a lot more in people's lives, in their spiritual life and in their personal life, and help them to overcome obstacles and challenges. And these were things that were new to me. And I can't necessarily say that I was fully equipped to deal with a lot of that. In fact, my personality type, if you know me well, you know that I'm a get-her-done kind of guy. Give me a checklist to do, and I will kill that checklist. You give me a project to do or an event to put on, then I can manage that. I can get into that box of Matt Waffle, and I can solve that problem. But when I start having to work in the context of relationships and solving problems there, especially in the context of relationships where there's conflict or there's serious issues, emotional issues or spiritual issues, I can be lost sometimes. And a big part of the reason that I struggle in this is that when God gifted me with my spiritual gifts, there's one key spiritual gift that he didn't give me a big dose of, and that is the gift of mercy. I'm not a very merciful person. I have a really difficult time walking alongside people who are going through tough times. It's not that I don't want to. It's just that my heart doesn't work the way that it probably ought to work sometimes, especially given the fact that I'm a pastor. When it comes to exercising mercy, being a merciful person really just means that you empathize with someone or you extend compassion to them. You mourn with them when they are mourning, or you share a broken heart with them. But God, in his infinite wisdom and his mercy, at the same time that I was joining the staff of that church in 2002 in a full-time capacity, God gave me a wife. And my wife, incidentally, is full of mercy. Mercy is actually one of her predominant spiritual gifts. So when I'm struggling with the ability to extend compassion or to mourn with those who are mourning, my wife Elizabeth is actually quite gifted in this. She's so full of mercy that if you phone her up to tell her about your painful hangnail, she will weep with you over your painful hangnail. You know, if your tomato plants die in your backyard and you're mourning the loss of your tomato plants, she will mourn with you over the loss of your tomato plants. Whatever road you need her to travel with you on, she has the capacity to do that because she is full of mercy. Whatever breaks your heart will break her heart as well. Mine? Not always so much. Which is why it's a good thing that God has brought us together. Now, assuming that we can figure out how to get those gears in sync and we can make it work together, I believe that God will help us each, both individually as well as a couple, to fulfill the potential that he has designed us for. And when we as a couple begin to fulfill the potential, to tap into the things that God has laid out for our lives, then our lives become so much more abundant, so much more full of joy, so much more fulfilling. Our married life is so much more fulfilling. And ultimately, isn't that really what we're looking for in our married relationships? We're looking for abundance. We're looking for joy. We're looking for fulfillment. We marry someone because we think that in some way, joining our lives with another person is going to be fulfilling for us. Now, when we pair with another person in marriage, recognizing that there are going to be things that are opposite, things that are different between the two of us, one of the things that we tend to avoid during the courting stage is we avoid hooking up with somebody who simply doesn't like to do the things that we do or hates the things that we do. We gravitate towards someone that shares common interests. You know, when you reflect on your dating years, for some of you it was dating years, for some of you maybe it was dating months, for some of you you're in the dating cycle of life right now. If you think about the things that pull you together, where you spend time together, or you spent time together doing things that you enjoyed doing together. You didn't spend your time doing things that one person liked and one person hated. If you did that over time, you would realize maybe this is not the person for me. So you naturally gravitate towards someone that has common interests, things that you enjoy doing together. The more you do those things together, the more you get to know that person. The better you get to know that person, the easier it is for you to make a decision about whether or not that person is a person that you're going to hook up with for the rest of your life and call them your husband or call them your wife. Now let's call it what it was when you were in that dating stage, when you were on that scene in your relationship together. What you were looking to do was to have fun together. You wanted to have fun. You needed to have fun. Fun is what you built your relationship on. What's interesting, if you really think about it, is that those fun times together really reflect more than anything else our own selfishness. Because what I do when I'm dating someone, when I'm pursuing someone that I want to have a relationship with, I'm looking for someone that I can have fun with. It's really all about me. It's not necessarily about them. It's about what I want or what I need. It's about what fulfills me, okay? When you're looking for a soulmate, that person that you're going to spend your life with, you're really looking for someone who will fulfill your needs. It's a very selfish angle. Because you want to be happy. You're looking for someone who will make you happy. It's all about you. When you're a single person and you're unattached to someone else, there's very little that you do that has any bearing on other people, right? You spend your time the way you want to spend your time. You spend your money the way you want to spend your money. You do what you want when you want. You eat what you want when you want to eat it. In your pajamas, steak and potatoes, dressed up, bowls of cornflakes, whatever it is you want. You own the remote control when you're single. It's your remote control, and you can watch whatever you want, and you can watch it as loud as you want. Nobody's going to complain that it's too loud because it's all about you. If you decide to spend your weekend mowing the lawn and getting caught up on chores, that's what you can choose to do. But if you decide you'd rather spend the whole weekend in your pajamas, on your couch, binge watching your favorite Netflix show and eating junk food, that's what you can do. It's your choice because you're single. Now, if that sounds like an ideal opportunity for you, spend the weekend in your pajamas, on your couch, binge watching your favorite Netflix shows while you're eating junk food, the only thing that might make that better is if you had someone who is sitting on the couch next to you in their pajamas, watching Netflix with you and holding the bag of chips, right? Because what you basically done when you add another person who enjoys that, you take something that was really rather pathetic and turn it into something romantic. When you're doing it by yourself, it's pathetic. When you do it with someone else, it becomes romantic. That's fun. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for someone who enjoys doing the things that we enjoy doing because it's fun. But if you really think about what's happening here, you're merely searching for someone who's going to meet your needs. It's not about the other person at all. It's all about you. And when you make that ultimate love connection with another person, it would be a highly exceptional situation that you would decide to marry someone who determined in advance that you were going to have to stop doing everything that you enjoy doing for the rest of your life. Not only would you be looking for someone who appreciated and encouraged you to do the things that you enjoy doing, but you're looking for someone who will do them with you. Couples don't fall in love without having fun. Fun is a big part of it. And no couple, no married couple, can sustain their marriage over the long haul and be healthy and happy without having fun. Having fun is a key ingredient to living happily ever after. The Old Testament book of Ecclesiastes, King Solomon, the wisest man that ever lived, says this: live happily with the woman you love through all the meaningless days of life that God has given you under the sun. The wife God gives you is your reward for all your earthly toil. Your wife is your reward. And your instructions, gentlemen, are to live happily with her. Now, I think this is a rather interesting angle, because if you look at our culture today, what most men see as their reward for hard work, the reward for their toil, it's typically not their wife. It's usually stuff that they can keep in their garage, right? I work hard, so for my hard work, I'm going to buy the Harley. I'm going to buy the dirt bikes. I'm going to buy the quads. I'm going to buy the boat. I'm going to buy the trailer. I work hard, so I deserve to go on that fishing trip with my buddies. I work hard, so I deserve the weekend in Vegas with my pals. These are the things that our culture tends to push at us as being the reward for our hard work. But Solomon, inspired by God, says your wife is actually your reward for your hard work. Now, we've looked at the fact that men by nature are problem solvers. Men by nature, we're problem solvers. We get into the box when we want to solve the problem. And in Genesis chapter 2, God said that it's not good for man to be alone. That was man's first problem. He was alone. So man couldn't do anything to solve that problem. So God solved it for him. God made him a wife. But since that day, every man is born with an empty box labeled woman. Because every man needs a woman. Now, sometimes men get married, sometimes they don't. Marriage is not required to have a fulfilling life, and I want to make sure that that's clear. Yet every man is hardwired with a desire to pursue a woman. Because there's a problem, there's an empty box. And so every man will go into that box and work to solve the problem. I'm a man, I need a wife. And so with our caveman instincts, we work to solve this problem. We do it with the good old-fashioned hunt and conquer, right? We do everything we can. We hunt the woman. We do everything we can to get the woman. We conquer the woman. We essentially solve the problem that's in that box that says it's not good for me to be alone. I need to have a woman. And then what happens when we've solved the problem in that box and we have conquered the woman? Is it like guys? We leave that box and we go into other boxes. And then we start trying to solve all the other problems in all the other boxes. In fact, we gravitate towards any boxes where we can have success, find fulfillment, have fun. We like the fun boxes. For some of us, work is fun. It's fun because we're successful at it. For some of us, sports are fun because we're successful at them. Whatever the fun boxes are, that tends to be where we gravitate. And we feel like we've already solved the problem in the wife box because we got the wife, we got the woman. So we leave that box. More often than not, we settle into married life and we realize that married life is very different than what we thought it was going to be. And so once the man realizes that the conquest is over, he leaves that box. Oftentimes the man is left feeling more as if he's been conquered than as if he is the conqueror. And that's a hard thing for men to have to deal with, which is why we'll so often leave the box and go into another box to pursue happiness, to pursue fun. We look for other boxes where we can hunt for things and conquer things and solve problems. We look for things that can give us the satisfaction that ultimately our wife is supposed to be providing for us. We're looking for fun somewhere else, and we leave behind the one that we're supposed to have all the fun with. But Solomon tells us that the wife, our wife, is the reward. Our wife is the prize. I heard Pastor Ed Young Jr. say this one time. Write this down if you're a note taker. Whatever you did to get her, you better do to keep her. Whatever you did to get her, you better do to keep her. So men, whatever it was that you did while you were the hunter-conqueror, trying to convince her that you were the only man on earth for her, that you were God's gift to her, whatever it was that you did that persuaded her to do that, you better keep doing that. Whatever you did to get her, you better keep doing in order to keep her. She chose you over every other man on the planet. Okay? She chose you. And so for whatever reason she chose you, you better keep reaffirming for her with the way that you engage in your relationship, the way that you stay in that box with her, that she made the right choice. Keep working on that. Now, wives, let me speak to you for a moment. If you were designed to be the reward for your husband's toil, his hard work, you need to ask yourself the hard question. Do I act like a prize? Do I act like a reward? Is the way that I conduct myself in the context of my relationship with my husband evident of the fact that he is rewarded with me, by me? Right? Do I look like a reward? Do I act like a reward? Do I engage like a reward? Wives, you are, I know some of you are going to be offended by this, but you're a trophy wife. Well, it's trophy, comma, wife, not a trophy wife. You're a trophy wife. How's that? Is that better? You're a trophy wife, which is actually kind of a good thing because if you think about what men do with trophies, men prize trophies. You know, got third place in the city bowling championship. Got that trophy. What do we do with that trophy? We polish up that trophy. We put it in a place where everybody in the house can see. We got third place in the city bowling championship. If you're a hunter, you went out and you killed some big trophy moose or elk or deer. What do? You cut its head off. You mount it on a wall. You want everybody to see your trophy. Please don't do that with your wives. Okay? It's not what I'm promoting here, right? But you need to place your wife in a place of value, a place where she feels as if she is valued, where she feels as if she is a reward. And consequently, ladies, you need to understand that you are the reward. And so you need to engage as if you are the reward. Our culture perpetuates the notion that our ultimate reward in life is fun. Our hard work is supposed to result in fun. The problem, the challenge is how we pursue that fun. If we pursue all of our fun in trailers and quads and lake houses and snowmobiles and boats and bikes and snowboards, if that's how we define fun for ourselves, then we've basically fallen into a trap that takes us away from engaging in the fun that God would desire for us to in the context of our marriage. It's easy to fall into that and make the pursuit of stuff be our ultimate fun. And there's no doubt that right now in our community, especially in our economic stage right now, that many people are beginning to lose a lot of their fun. A lot of the stuff that they've financed for fun is having to go back to where it came from because we can't make the payments on our fun anymore. We've accumulated stuff in our garages that was supposed to give us fun, and now it's become a burden. And so many people are losing the things that they've kind of rewarded themselves with. You know, even if you have to give up all the stuff that you've accumulated, even if your garage burns down or someone comes and steals all your stuff from you, you still have your wife. And she is your reward, so long as you haven't neglected her during the season that you were accumulating all of the stuff and she left and you didn't even know because you're too busy polishing your motorcycle or whatever it is that you're doing. Didn't even know she was gone. Strange that those things happen, but they happen. But we can't neglect our wives while we're accumulating stuff. We need to engage with our wife as our reward. Fun in marriage. This isn't in your notes, but you should write this down, okay? Fun in marriage is like sugar to chocolate. How many of you would say that the cocoa bean is one of God's greatest gifts to humanity? Anyone? A lot of hands went up there, mostly spaghetti hands. Okay? But here's the deal. Without sugar, cocoa is bitter and pretty much inedible, right? You don't eat the cocoa without the sugar. Marriage without fun is also bitter. It's rather impalatable. It's not easy to swallow a marriage that has no fun, just like it's not easy to swallow chocolate without sugar. Cocoa without sugar is bitter and not appetizing. And a marriage with no fun is like chocolate without sugar. The idea is good, but until you put the fun in it, it's bitter and it's not satisfying. Now, Pastor Craig Groeschel, Life Church, preached a sermon on fun in marriage probably about 5 or 6 years ago. About 4 years ago, I actually shared some key points in a message that I preached here, and I'm gonna share the exact same points today that I shared 4 years ago. Most of you probably weren't even here, and if you were here, chances are you don't even remember what I taught you, because you probably won't remember what I taught you today by tomorrow. So I felt it's okay if I repeat something I've already said, because I think it's really important. It's really important that we grasp these principles. Pastor Craig Groeschel explains that in marriage, there are two kinds of fun that we need to be engaged in order to keep our marriage sweet and satisfying. First off, we need to engage in face-to-face fun. And secondly, we need to have side-by-side fun. There's face-to-face fun and there's side-by-side fun. For you waffles in the room, you're going to hear about face-to-face fun and you're going to want to jump into another box. Run and hide. Okay, face-to-face fun is a hard thing for a waffle to engage in. Side-by-side fun is more our speed. And Mrs. Spaghetti, you hear about face-to-face fun and that just gets you all excited. Side-by-side fun, maybe not so much. But both are equally important in order to keep our marriage fresh and healthy. Anytime we start to find ourselves discontent in our relationship, in our marriage, what often tends to happen is we begin seeing greener pastures on the other side of the fence. And your responsibility when you start to see greener pastures somewhere else is to get to work on your own lawn. Is to roll up your sleeves and do the hard work necessary to get your own grass green. And that means investing in your relationship. You got to feed it. You got to fertilize it. You got to water it. You got to invest here. Yes, that over there might look really good. But if you go over there, you're just going to kill that one anyway because you're not doing the hard work you need to do in this one. So you got to roll up your sleeves and do the hard work. And the truth is, if you've neglected your lawn for any length of time, it's going to take that much more work for you to get the grass back to a stage of green. So you're going to have to be prepared to do the work. So this morning, let's roll up our sleeves. Let's get out our tools. Let's get ready to do the hard work that we need to do to make our marriages what we hope and dream that they can be. For the last little bit of time that we have here together this morning, I'm going to give you some very practical tips. We're going to read from an Old Testament book called The Song of Solomon. If you were just reading through the Old Testament of the Bible and you ran across this book, you'd be like, what? Where did that come from? It's a book that's a poetic description of a relationship between a man and woman, and it's very pretty, and at times it's very steamy. It doesn't probably get nearly as much time in churches on Sunday morning because it is a little steamy, and most pastors are probably just a little bit too bashful or shy to get into it. But you know me, I'm not particularly bashful or shy, so we're gonna go in. You ready? Here we go. This is Song of Solomon, chapter 7, beginning at verse 1, and this is a man talking to a woman. You ready? He says, "How beautiful are your sandaled feet, O nobleman's daughter." See, right off the bat, the guy gets bonus points because he's noticing the footwear, right? Ladies, you're with him on that? He notices the footwear. Good-looking feet. "The curves of your thighs are like jewels, the work of the hands of a master craftsman." This guy is looking at the woman face to face, and he's using words. "Your navel is a round mixing bowl. May it never lack mixed wine. Your belly is a mound of wheat encircled by lilies. Your two breasts are like two fawns, twins of a gazelle. Your neck is like a tower made of ivory." Some of you are still stuck on the twins of a gazelle part, aren't you? I like twins of a gazelle. That's good stuff. "Your eyes are the pools in Heshbon by the gate of Bath Rabin, and your nose is like the tower of Lebanon overlooking Damascus." I have no idea what that means at all. I can't explain that to you. But this is what I do understand. That in this moment, this man, this guy is looking at the woman. And he had a choice about how he could talk to her. He could look at her and go, "Whoa, babe, you look hot." Or he could use some fancy words and tell her what she really needs to hear. He could be clever, not clever so much as trying to fool her, but clever and like smart, wise in applying what the tools that God has given him in the English language to share with her what she needs to hear. What she needs to hear is she needs to hear the details. She needs to know the specifics. Babe, you look hot. Yeah, it might get you so far. But twins of a gazelle, woohoo, that might get you a little further. He's pursuing the woman. He's face to face with her. He's looking at her and he's telling her what she needs to hear. And what she needs to hear are the details. She needs to hear the details. Women love the details. Conversely, men, we just need the highlights, broad strokes. That's why we've got Sports Center. Okay? With me here? Monday morning, I can turn on my TV, Sports Center. 22 minutes. I can get everything that I need to know about every sporting event that happened all weekend long. Just the highlights, the broad strokes. Better yet, I go to the gym on Monday mornings, and I can run on the treadmill, and I can have Sports Center on, and I don't even have the sound on. I can just look at the pictures, and I've got everything I need, because I don't even need words. Now, women, on the other hand, they love shows like The View, which is a bunch of women sitting around a table and talking. And talking, and talking. You can't watch The View with the sound off because you got to hear the talking because the words, the details are so very, very important. Now, guys, before you were married, you were perfectly capable of having a face-to-face conversation. You're perfectly capable of doing it. You talked at dinner, you talked in the car, you talked on long walks. You even went old-fashioned sometimes and talked on the phone. Go figure. You could do it. But now you're married, talking gets a little bit harder, doesn't it? But whatever you did to get her, you need to do to keep her. Guys, here are 4 tips to help you implement more and better face-to-face fun in your marriage. Ready? Number 1, give her the details. When you're having a conversation, don't just tell her she looks hot, but give her the details. Tell her you like the way her hair looks. You love that color of lipstick. Her nails look great. Her shoes are awesome. Go for the footwear, okay? Footwear's good, okay? Give her the details. Tell her why you love the twins of a gazelle. When she asks about your day, don't just say it was fine. Give her the details. She wants to hear the details. Number 2, gentlemen, listen to the details. Listen to the details. My wife has been interviewing for new jobs lately. She comes home from her job interview, and she wants to tell me every question they asked her in the interview, and then she wants to tell me every answer she gave to every question in the interview. Whew. And my job, face-to-face fun, is to listen to the details. Gentlemen, listen to the details. Number 3, gentlemen, ask her for the details. Ask her for the details. She just got off the phone with her mother. You know that your mother-in-law is having problems with her bunions, so ask about the bunions. Ask her about the scheduled surgery for her bunions. Ask who the doctor is that's going to perform the surgery. Ask for the name and the address of the hospital where the surgery is going to take place. Ask for the details. And then number 4, gentlemen, listen to the details. Don't ask for the details and then just pick up the remote control and go back to Sports Center. You need to listen to the details. Now, moving along. We're going to keep reading from Song of Solomon. We're going to skip down to verse 11. This is the woman now speaking to the man. Come, my beloved, let us go to the countryside. Let us spend the night in the villages. She's saying, let's go on a trip. She's initiating side-by-side fun. Let us rise early to go to the vineyards, to see if the vines have budded, to see if their blossoms have opened, if the pomegranates are in bloom. There, I will give you my love. Now, ladies and gentlemen, husbands and wives, you need to have side-by-side fun. You need to do stuff that you enjoy together. You did it when you were dating. You need to keep doing it long after you're married. Once upon a time, when you were getting to know each other, that was pretty much what you did. You spent all of your time side by side doing things that you enjoyed together so that you could build your relationship upon that common ground. You had fun together. Women, here's a hot tip for you. It is really, really important for you to show interest in your man's activities. Men love it. They love it when you show interest in his activities. Let him show you how to fish. Let him show you how to shoot a gun. Let him show you how to bowl or to hit a baseball or to use a reciprocating saw. Whatever it is that floats his boat, show an interest in that. Now, I know that when he decides to take you hunting, because you've shown interest in hunting, you don't want to kill Bambi. You don't want to kill Bambi, and it's okay. Don't kill Bambi. Miss your shot on purpose. Okay? This is important. You think I'm kidding? Because even though it's awesome for you to show interest in what interests your man, it is not awesome for you to be better at it than he is. Okay? Never show him up when showing interest in his activities. Never show him up when showing interest in his activities. But your ability to do this, your ability to show interest in what interests him, will do so much to water and fertilize your own lawn, making your grass greener and the pastures that you are in, lush and gorgeous. So get off the couch, put down the phone, get off of social media, go on a Facebook or Twitter fast, go out and have some fun, side-by-side fun. Now, something I glossed over just a moment ago as we read that last passage, backing up, chapter 7, verse 12, look what the woman says at the conclusion of their side-by-side fun. She says, "There, I will give you my love." I think it goes without saying that if you regularly employ face-to-face fun and side-by-side fun, it's going to lead to lots of belly-button-to-belly button fun. And that's what we're going to talk about next Sunday. I hope you'll come back. Let's pray. God, thank you so much that you've given us the ability to share life together and to have fun. I pray that the words that we've looked at here today and these points that we have taken, these points that we've made, would really resonate with us. I know that when we get in the midst of our challenges in our relationships, fun tends to take a back seat. We tend to focus on things that have to get done. We focus on the stresses and the pressures of the world. We focus on our family life and just how to manage things from day to day. And so often fun gets put on a back burner. But you've designed us to enjoy our company with one another. You've designed us to enjoy life together and to have fun. And so I pray, Heavenly Father, that we would be able to implement some of these principles and that even today, some of us might have some face-to-face fun and some side-by-side fun. I pray that you would help us to cultivate rich and amazing relationships that reflect our relationship with you. I pray all of this in Jesus Christ's name. Amen.